So on the left, we have BDC Colonel Koenig. We've seen recently on the channel, he is playing the second French on Flatline Income, and he is up against Finzent, a stalwart of the channel now. One of my original sort of first few players that I encountered in the game and kind of watched my videos and was commenting, so really good to get to cast Finzent. We saw him recently in a cast. I don't think it's actually released on the YouTube channel yet. It will be out on Thursday for anyone watching in Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching this game as I'm talking right now on YouTube, then the game should already be out. But anyway, it's a cracking game. Finzent, he is playing the Third Guards Mechanized on Maverick Income. And I do know that Finzent really loves the second French. It's one of his favourite divisions. So he's going to fully know the capabilities of the second French. There's going to be no doubt about that. Let's have a look at the decks. Let me get them up on my screen. So on the left, we've got Colonel Koenig playing the second French. He's on a Flatline Income. We did talk briefly about Flatline trying to counter Maverick. It is a possible choice as a counter to Maverick. Doesn't always succeed. I guess we'll have to find out whether it succeeds today. 59 units of infantry. You don't get much infantry in this second French division. I guess that's balanced by the fact that if you pick the first French infantry division, you get like the best infantry in the game virtually. But today that's not the case for Colonel Koenig. He's got 34 tank units, mostly Shermans, although there are plenty of M5A1s in there as well, and a couple of M8s in there too. M3A3 as well. Plenty of tanks that we don't usually see for the French. We got some M8 Abusiers in the support tab. Plenty of bazookas in these French divisions. Both his guns are fine for the anti-air. A couple of Spitfires as air defense, and the DB-73 are really strong bombers. Very strong bombers. It kind of really helps out the second French. If we switch over to the right, we get Finzent's deck. He's on Maverick Income, so he's going to be the one doing most of the aggression, I would suggest. Third Guards Mechanized, 85 units of infantry. There are some decent infantry in there. Tanko Desaniki after Machiki will stand up pretty well. I guess we'll have to see how the infantry goes. I think in some areas they're going to be outmatched, in other areas they're going to do just fine. The Valentine 9s are a really good tank, and Finzent has 20 of those in his deck. They can do really well against Shermans, and the Stuarts as well. So I believe the Valentines could be a bit of a star of the show today. We'll have to see whether that is actually the case. Plenty of Zis 2 guns in the anti-tank tab. Kind of a little bit overkill for what he's going to be up against. But I guess, you know, if you've got the choice of an M42 gun or a Zis 2, generally you're going to pick the Zis 2s. We've got lots of Su-85s, lots of Su-76s as well. Plenty of anti-tank units in this division. And against the aircraft, well, only 2 fighters, the P-39Ns, and some Zenart 37 mils there in the anti-air tab, and a couple of ZSU M17s. So those DB bombers could come in handy for Colonel Koenig. They haven't got too much to go up against in the skies. Finzent could suffer. We'll have to see whether that actually happens or not. M17s are just too bad. Do you know what? I didn't mention it, but I always get confused between the M17s and the M15s and can't remember which one's which. So it sounds like the M17s are the 50 cals. And yes, the 50 cal versions are really bad. Although 50 cals got better. We'll have to see whether they are as bad as they used to be, because 50 cal AA did get a lot stronger. So maybe they're not quite as bad as we remember. I forgot to do the recap. On the left, we've got Colonel Koenig doing the French on Flatline Income. He has gone pretty heavy into the center and looks like he's been able to capture that flag. And on the right, we got Finzent in the Maverick Income with Third Guards Mechanized. He's given up that central flag, so quite strange for a Maverick player to do that. Looks like the M8 is going to chase down this M42 gun and get the kill. I remember myself playing Colonel Koenig, who was playing, I think, the 3rd Armoured Division, and he used those M8s really well against me early on, and I wasn't able to counter his early M8 aggression, and it looks like at the moment he's getting the better of it between these two players. The M8 pins down the M42 gun. I think he was going to go for the surrender there, but I think he decided against that when he saw the other infantry unit in there. Thought there might be a bazooka. Does decide to stop and does pick up that northern position. So it's 14-10 to Colonel Koenig now. The 50 cal half tracks are amazing. AA is using the secret documents. And Onard replies, they are, but the M17s aren't. They are, but they aren't. I guess we're going to find out. Well, maybe we'll find out. So Colonel Koenig picks up this flag down here as well. Flatline versus Maverick. Colonel Koenig's got the 15-9 already. But the French are pretty strong in the early phase, and I do feel they do drop off a fair bit into C phase. If you don't trade well, I feel like they can drop off. So maybe Finzent, knowing that, has tried to conserve as many units as possible in the early game. Did suffer up north though, and there's this 2-gun not in a good position right now. I'm not sure the order that Finzent's given it. I can't actually see, so I'm not sure what's happening there, but it is going to go down, or it's pinned down, and if Finzent doesn't recognise and fall that one back, it's going to go down. Valentine Knock 9, though, that can definitely defend against these tanks. Ooh, a double shot, though. That is not what you want from your Valentines, as this 2-gun goes down as well. Colonel Koenig definitely getting the good trades early on. M2A1 half-track versus the Hotchkiss. Is that Hotchkiss or is that just... No, it's just a 50 cal. It's just a 50 cal. So 50 cal versus 50 cal. I think the Hotchkiss is a what? 13 point something. Might be wrong there. I might be a little bit wrong there. 13.2 on the caliber. It's quiet down south. Quiet down south now that engagement's happened. Looks like the Valentine took a hit, but both of those units went down. Oh, the Razvedka. The Razvedka, I think, has really helped out Finzent picking up the Sherman kill here. And is that the... that wasn't the Stuart. That was a half-track. I'm sure there was an M8 up here as well that looks like that's gone down. I'm imagining... is that it here? Yeah, it looks like the M8 tried to rush through and perhaps the Guardia got the kill with the ATR rifle. Didn't quite see that as it happened. So apologies that we missed that. Pioneers engaging against Partisanis. The Partisanis do have the Molotov cocktail, so they can stand up at close range pretty well. M42 gun being hit by the 50 cals. The one thing you've got to be careful now, these M42 guns, they do now have HE on, so they could fire, as this has done, against an enemy machine gun, and the enemy machine gun is going to rip them to pieces. So got to be very careful with the use of those 45 mils now. Sniper being hit by the Sherman. Not a trade that Finzent is going to want to make. Looks like down south he has started to push forwards out of the forest that he was concentrating his forces in. It looks like he's tried to engage here against the Pioneers as well. Most likely with the Tanko Disaniki, but he has been forced back. And a unit did go down up on the top of this hill. Probably an M8 from earlier. Oh no, another Valentine. So look, plenty of Valentines going down early on into this game. Definitely not doing the kind of damage that I was expecting them to do. Off map into the centre. Half track going to push through for the surrenders. Should pick them up because the Guardia Comrotti is pinned as well. Yeah. And Colonel Koenig gonna pick up a very nice position here in the centre of this town. Finzent trying to reinforce as quickly as possible. We do have a couple of M42 guns protecting the roads, but they don't fire quick enough onto that Voltigeurs, and they do manage to get through. The Razvedka needs to drop off here. Otherwise, it's going to go down. Valentine Mark 9 goes down to a Sherman, I believe. And we got a carrier Rozvedka in here as well. M42 gun is helping out the Rozvedka against the Voltigeurs, but through the centre races another M8. And that helping out. Well, the M8 goes down to the Su-76 MPT of the ace of the division, Averin. Just looking down briefly to the sun side. 13-11 to Colonel Koenig, although, you know, Colonel Koenig did push forwards here with that off-map, but he's lost a lot of his infantry units, so he hasn't really gained the advantage. And this second off-map, I mean, it's nicely placed, but there's only one M42 gun and a MG42, so it's not as though he's going to do a devastating amount of damage, even if he takes out those units. Vardy is pushing through the centre position now, and Finzent, despite taking that off map, losing a hell of a lot of infantry, looks to be absolutely fine in the centre of this town right now. I wouldn't have said that just 2 minutes ago after that off map and all the surrenders going down. I thought Colonel Koenig was going to be able to secure both of these central flags quite easily, but it seems like Finzent's turned it around on a dime. Off map does come in. We're going to see whether those MG42s and the M42 goes down. Tanko Disanikis are going to push in and should secure this flag. Shifts it back to a 12-12. We are 7 minutes into this game. Colonel Koenig has had a pretty decent lead, but Finzent has pulled it back to the 12-12. Finzent has the income advantage, although I think he has lost a fair few units early on, so a lot of that Maverick income will be really about bolstering his positions. Half track pushing forwards, but both of these Guardia units have those AT grenades on them and should be able to pick up the kills. The off-map vehicle, I think there is still one more off-map charge in there. Ooh, I think that Guardia unit, incredibly unlucky not to get the kill on the half track and to surrender there. But I guess Finzent does need to get his Guardia Comrotti back closer to the action, a little bit too far away from that leader unit. Oh, and another off-map from Colonel Koenig going to be absolutely wasted. Nothing in there. The MG42 and the 42 mil gun didn't go down. Tanko Disanikis do drop off, although the half-track's under a hell of a lot of fire from the M8. The off-map going to go down. Nothing in its path. Down south, not much movement. Both players have quite a strong force down south, though, but I think they're doing a lot of work microing up north. Finzent does push through, capture the flag in the town, but thanks to the flag here in the centre, Colonel Koenig does hold that 12-12. Tanko Disanikis go down to the Sapeurs grenades there. Rozvedka do come into the position, but they might not be able to hold that position if the Tankos are still pinned down. And the M42 gun going down to the Sherman, not really able to penetrate. This 2 gun coming into the position might be able to swing the tide and start taking out these supporting weapons from afar. Harry and Rozvedka doing a really good job pushing around the side of this town. I think that's actually doing a really good job, supported by the 2 Su-76s. There was a Sherman in here that's gone down. Ooh, the off-map, I think, nearly takes out the Su-85 and the M42 gun. Tanko Disanikis, yeah, they're all still pinned down, and we could see some surrenders. I think Finzent a little bit lucky right now to keep this Rozvedka alive, and as soon as it recovers, should be able to at least take out the half track. .76 engaging the M8, and the 76 should come out the better, but the M8 can still kill. Yeah, and it does so. It does so. Rozvedka, we're just waiting, but I'm pretty sure it is going to come back. This 2 gun is going to get pinned down, though, I think, before he can get a kill. The HMG has been pretty devastating here at pinning down the edge of this forest. There's the Rozvedka coming back to life and taking out the half track. As long as that recovers to kind of 0 suppression, then it should be okay against the Voltigeurs, but a couple of Sapeurs and Pioneers coming in as well. Yeah, is this 2 gun suppressed? The Su-76s have gone down, that came around the side of this town. I think the bazooka from the sappers is the thing that did the job on those Su-76ers. Su-85 goes down to a M10 tank destroyer, though I think a Sherman did go down just before then. It's kind of hard to keep track of all the action. I'm conscious that the southern side is still there. Looks like Finzent's been pushed back. Looks like Colonel Koenig has pushed forward an attack, picked up this southern flag, and he is now 14-10 up. Flatline versus Maverick, but we are only 11 minutes into this game. Finzent has his full Maverick income right now, so might be able to swing things around. But usually as a Maverick player, you want to be using that Maverick income to be pushing forwards and picking up a 15-9, whereas right now Finzent's going to have to use that Maverick income to stabilize his front. Colonel Koenig up to a 15-9. This two-gun does take care of the half-track. Finzent originally didn't have the APCR turned off, so that half-track didn't go down to the first AP shot, or the first shot that hit target, but he did take that off afterwards, so good use of the micro there. Rizvedka's trying to hold on against the sappers, but they do go down to the heavy satchel charge. After Mashiki should be able to push into the position, and again there's this two-gun being hit from the edge of that tree line by the 50 cal. And really that 50 cal has been very effective at holding back kind of AT guns from the edge of this tree line, so that Colonel Koenig's kind of tanks and armoured vehicles can help out his infantry in the long-range fight. Is this an Allies versus Allies match? It is Allies versus Allies, yes. We have the French on the left-hand side, the 2nd E-Blinde, so that's Western Allies, versus the Russians, the 3rd Guard Mechanized, on the right-hand side. So it's Western Allies, or the French, versus the Soviets. Up on the northern side, the Rizvedka unit did go down, and Colonel Koenig has once again established full control up in the north. The Valentine, I've been singing its praises. He's got to start working out. He's got to start getting the kills, but he should be okay up against the M8. It should be fine. There are a lot of infantry units in here for Finzent now. He doesn't have too much support, so this M4A2 is able to suppress a lot of those units. The Aftermachikis are trying to make their way through. We still haven't got the Guardia Comrotti in there, although we do have a replacement one in the town, so that one is still alive for now. The Aftermachiki pushing forwards might be able to get the AT grenade onto the M4A2, but it has been spotted, takes a shot from the northern road, so Colonel Koenig should know it's there, and I'm kind of surprised he hasn't backed away. Now he backs away his M4A2, and just in the nick of time, because Finzent isn't able to get a shot against that M4A2, or isn't able to get the grenade off. And Colonel Koenig really looking to exploit that northern position. The Valentine is going to have to work incredibly hard to hold back the hordes, or is Colonel Koenig just going to halt where he is? Looks like he's trying to get units pushed forwards. We're going to see whether the Valentine can finally get itself into the history books now. Does immediately bail out an M5A1. Takes a good shot against the second one. Destroys the original one. Now it's up against the Sherman. Can still defeat this. And I think the Valentine has a better advantage here. Takes a big hit, so needs to kill the Sherman now. Ooh, bounces, and that Valentine doesn't go down because I think the Sherman moved, so he lost the accuracy advantage. And now in moves an M8. That thing should go down. I think Colonel Koenig's wanting to move everything in at once now. Partisan is starting to reinforce. We've got another couple of Valentines on the way. We've got lots of Valentines coming into the centre, but they are very slow tanks, taking their time to get there. Su-85 on the hill trying to take down the HMG, and the Partisan is under attack from the mortar half-track. We moved away from the north just at the wrong time. Looks like the Sherman and the M5 have both gone down. I knew as soon as I moved away that was going to happen. So the Valentine finally does some good work, and we don't actually get to see it. Partisanes are being suppressed before they can really get into action against the Pioneers, and Finzent's got to be really... Yeah, he's going to lose those to surrenders. I was about to say Finzent's got to be really careful. A really nice pickup from Colonel Koenig, surrendering those 3 Partisani units. And what's that, 20 points apiece? Yeah. 60 points going down to surrenders right then. Valentine going to fire against the M8. Finally goes down, although I think it has done enough of a job up there on the northern side. Finzent losing a lot to poor Micro. I think Finzent is losing a little bit to Micro here, yeah. But sometimes that's going to happen, I guess. After Michi's pushing through the centre town, I think Finzent's done a great job of pushing through here in this centre town. He is up against a lot of units, though. He is up against a hell of a lot of units in here. He needs to drop those after Michi's off. They do drop off. Close range to get the kill on the Voltigeurs. And they should be able to take out that half track as well. Valentine's encountering the M10 tank destroyer along the road. The Sherman's going to come off the road there. I think Finzent is making some good micro decisions as well. And then others, he is losing a few on others as well. So it's not a criticism of Finzent, but, you know, there are some losses to micro. I think Colonel Koenig's doing a... Ooh, look at this half-track here, capturing these two flags. 16-8 up now, 7 minutes left on the clock for Finzent. We are still in the Maverick phase. He should be able to cover off those flags easy enough, given that it's just a M5 half-track. But it's a nice sneak of flags from Colonel Koenig. Down here in the south, Finzent has started to push forwards, and he has started to make his way through kind of the amount of units that were here. M10 tank destroyer goes down. I believe it was to this Valentine here. He is starting to make his way through here now, and I think his income has definitely been helping him move forwards. But in a few minutes time, we are going to head into C phase. The half track goes down to the Emcher there, and he's going to recover 2 flags here. We are going to be moving into C phase soon. We're going to be down to 80 points of income, and it's going to be tough for Finzent. But I do feel like the French drop off a little bit in C phase as well. So it's not necessarily curtains if Finzent doesn't make it through there. Emcher going down to the Cannon 57mm. I don't think he quite spotted that unit being fired upon in time. Ooh, and an M10 in a nice little position here, firing off against the Sherman. Ooh, but down goes the M10. Nice kill there. Valentine immediately gets the gun jam, and that's another unit down there to the Cannon 57mm. So that cannon's done a good job in that little position, covering the southern side of this town. Back down to the southern side. Guardia are encountering the Nueve. We're going to see lots of volunteers now from Colonel Koenig. And does that mean Colonel Koenig is out of mainline infantry? Well, the volunteers are a B-phase card. The Nueve are a B-phase card. He's got a C-phase card of sappers, 12 units left on that. So he might run out of infantry. It is a possibility with this French deck. He's definitely got a C-phase card of 12 sappers, and he's obviously got quite a few volunteers left to go. But he could be starting to get a little bit low on infantry. Just be careful to make sure there's no spoilers in the Twitch chat, please. DB73, I think that's the first one we're seeing onto the battlefield. In they come. And that's going to drop onto the Valentine. I think... yeah. Doesn't really get the kill. There is a bazooka following that up as well, so that Valentine does have to be a little bit careful. Colonel Koenig still holding this central flag here thanks to 2 flamers, and it's a bit of a shame Finzent isn't pushing north right now. Really trying to, you know, pile on that pressure to Colonel Koenig. Valentine. I call him Valentine. Is it Valentine? And Tanko Desaniki pushing through the forest should easily take on those volunteers. Valentine and volunteers. Razvedka being hit from the Nueve, taking a lot of damage. We need to see the tanks push forward and try and support those infantry as well as the half-track as well. Tanko Desaniki on the move. Looks like Finzent's making a push here, and actually looking back, nothing really behind Colonel Koenig's line, so Finzent isn't far from breaking through on this northern side, and if we can take this centre position as well, we could see quite a few flags turn into Finzent's favour. He's got great map control down here on the southern side, but he's not actually getting the flags. It's 12-12 right now. 20 minutes of the game gone. We are now into C phase. Colonel Koenig does get the advantage here on income, but he could be, you know, he could be suffering on infantry. He only has those 12 sappers left to go. 11, counting this unit used, and then he's back to the volunteers again, so he could run out of infantry here. 13-11 to Finzent. He's picked up this northern flag with the push from the Tanko Disaniki. They will be absolutely fine against the volunteers, and the M2 half track continuing to push through. We got a cannon 57mm trying to reinforce. If this cannon 57mm goes down to the half track, that could be pretty devastating for Colonel Koenig. And I feel like this game is starting to hot up in the northern side. M2A1 picks up the surrender there. If the bazooka goes down, it's going to be okay against the Nueve. This bazooka really needs to go down. Make sure the M2A1 can't be destroyed. And if it does, they can push forwards and pick up the Nueve surrender. Should go down now. The M2 and the Valentine are getting involved. Yeah, down it goes. And the half track could push forward and pick up an easy surrender. That's an expensive Nueve unit. 25 points, maybe not quite as expensive as they used to be. I believe they used to be 30 points at one point. After Machiki pushing through the forest, they're going to come up against sappers, and yeah, the sappers should be able to destroy those after Machiki with the satchel charge. So Finzent is going to lose that battle. Down on the sun side, he does pick up the flag, but he's still missing that trick in the center with the flamers. Valentine's being hit from two sides. Oh, and it's got... Oh, it does take out the M10. There is the bazooka here as well. And the Valentine does go down there. Mortar's trying to get into the action. The SU-76 MPT is pushing very close to that bazooka as well. But the Partisanis are pushing through and should be able to kind of screen the way for that SU-76 MPT. The double SU-76 should be able to take care of the M5A1. One of them goes down. This is an important engagement right now. Yeah, the other one does take out the Stuart, leaving the way clear for Finzent. Well, almost clear on the southern side. We do still have a Stuart, a couple of volunteers, and maybe a sappers on the northern side. But he is making a breakthrough down south. Finzent goes 59 up. He's finally taken this centre flag, but will the Guardia unload? No! Oh, but the flamers are revealed, and he may well understand now that there is not much here in this centre ground. The Partisani and the Guardia Conrotti are starting to move up. This is an easy flag he can take. There's nothing really behind here. He has opportunities available to him. The mortar half-track booking itself out of there. Doesn't want to be caught on its own. And Finzent's got opportunities for him. Up on the northern side, looks like the cannon 57mm was able to get into position. Tanko Disanikas are trying to hunt down these volunteers and should be able to get the kill. Finzent's looking a lot better right now. 14-10. This centre town is almost secured, but there are a couple of volunteers ahead of the bazookas. I think the volunteers coming in now is really starting to hurt Colonel Koenig. He's starting to lose these infantry engagements, whereas before he was really pressing on and able to, you know, win infantry on infantry. The centre ground is finally taken by Finzent. Those flamers have gone down, and the Sparhi isn't going to be able to hold the front line forward. So Finzent might be able to push this flag if he can muster the troops to do so. But I think the income advantage is now starting to hurt him a little bit. We're seeing less and less reinforcements come in, and this southern side, yeah, it's really tight down here. We got an M4A3 up on the top of the hill, another one on the way. But you know, if Finzent gets through a couple of these units, he's going to be okay. But on the other hand, if he loses an SU-76 and a Valentine, then Colonel Koenig's going to be okay as well. So this southern side, oh, it's very tight down here right now. DB-73 trying to drop on the Guardia. I think they have just about moved positions. He's pushing forwards. He's trying to get the kill there. But the bombs do come in the right place in time, and that unit is going to go down, not able to get the kill. But we do have a Razvedka following up. SU-76 MPT exposes itself there, does go down. I think that was a little bit of a mistake. Kind of maybe wanted that to hold a little bit further back and try and get the Razvedka to push forward for the kill without exposing that SU-76 MPT. But he is being very aggressive here, and you've got to be aggressive, I think, in this position as well. There's swings and roundabouts on that. Razvedka goes for the shot, does pick up the kill, but we do still have an M4A3 down here. We do still have an M3A3 and a unit of Sappers coming in to back up this position on the southern side. And like I said, I think the income advantage is starting to hurt Finzent. He's not getting the reinforcements in as quickly as he has been. Oh, bazooka! Bazooka through, hitting the Sherman. I think that was a bazooka. The only other alternative, I think, was the Cannon 57 mil. But I think it was the bazooka that got the kill there. And Finzent is securing this town. He can take care of the volunteers. Up on the northern side, he kind of held his position up there. Colonel Koenig needs to start the fight back. M4A3 really has to get through the Valentines. The half-track goes down there to a Valentine. The Sappers, if they get into the forest, they have been suppressed a little bit. So, I'm not sure whether they'll be able to fire that grenade off. Will they be able to? Yes, there goes the grenade, but I think they're going to surrender before the grenade really hits. No, it doesn't. So for now, they're going to be okay, but I think eventually those Sappers are going to go down. Finzent has the 59, but down here on the southern side, Colonel Koenig has started the fight back, and we now see the momentum shift. He's got a hell of a lot more units down here on the southern side, and Finzent, he's just got the 2 Shermans. He's got the Gvardias on the way. He has got a Gvardia here picking up a flag, but he's very exposed. A couple of Shermans or Stuarts push through here, and they will go down. So 59 to Finzent, but it's not over for Colonel Koenig right now. He's got 12 minutes left on the clock. Valentine goes down up north to the... I'm going to say to the Cannon 57 mil there. And the Sappers, oh, they're able to get the second grenade off against the Gvardia in the back. And Colonel Koenig really had no right to win that engagement, but he does so. And those Sappers survive. And you've got to say as well, they've got the bazooka on them. They can easily dispatch this Valentine Mark 9. Hero of the northern side right now, those Sappers. Just 2 men in that team. DB-73 heading up north. I think Colonel Koenig still thinks there's stuff in that forest, so he is bombing the position. Then he's going to move the Sappers through after it, or perhaps the Nueve are going to come in. So he was holding on to some Nueve. Does still have some good units available to him. I think he was desperately starting to conserve infantry units. So it's turning back into Colonel Koenig's favor right now. 13-11. The Rizvedka has been spotted, and they are being taken down at close range by the 50 cal on the mortar half track. Colonel Koenig get great use out of his support equipment here. Volunteers at long range won't be able to really fight against the Russian infantry, especially with Sherman support. There's nothing really able to take down those Shermans right now. So Finzent's going to be okay on the southern side, although the DB-73s are going to try and do that job. Gvardia pushing forwards, trying to pick up the flags as the DB-73s fly in above. Do drop on top of those Shermans. One of them going for the Gvardia, the other one going for the Sherman. And the Gvardia that was moving in here has been suppressed. Colonel Koenig has the half-tracks in position to kind of hold back those units. One of those Gvardia does surrender, and Finzent really doesn't need to be losing units right now. But the Stuart goes down. I think that was a Stuart. The half-track does surrender the infantry of Gvardia, or the unit of Gvardia infantry. But there is an M4A3 here. Does take out the Sherman. Sherman versus M4A3. I know my money's on the M4A3 right now, and I'm not sure Finzent quite knows what to do. He's backing away that Sherman, but Colonel Koenig's also backing away. I don't think he wants to push forward from these flags here. I think he just wants to try and hold as long as possible. He's got 21 minutes before he kind of dies, and I think what he's trying to do is just outlast Finzent. I think he just sees the income difference. He's going to use his DB-73s to come in here. He's not really going to be aggressive. I think he's just going to hold his position. I think he's going to try and take back this flag here. And yeah, there's no real reason for him to push forwards from this treetop, from this hill line. He just exposes his units to enemy fire. He's got 21 minutes to last. He's got the income advantage on his side. Valentine goes down up north, and it might reconnect the front line with the Voltigears up here. How long have those Voltigears been sitting down, sitting in that position? I think Colonel Koenig in a very strong position now. If you look at the actual units on the ground, Colonel Koenig has a lot more. I guess it's probably about even down here on the southern side, although the M4A3 is a pretty dominating presence. There is a ZIS-2 gun in this kind of position, though, that can test against that. But up here on the northern side, Colonel Koenig definitely has a hell of a lot more units, and he is looking very strong right now. Su-76 MPT, the main defense up on the northern side. Is it going to be enough? M4A3 is going to oppose it though, and you've got to suggest that Colonel Koenig has got the units up here to be able to fight back against Finzent, and Finzent not looking in a strong position despite being 13-11 up. Not quite looking in a strong position right now. DB73 comes in against the Su-76 MPT, and the more DB73s that Colonel Koenig purchases, the better time he is going to have. Sorry about the zoom there. Su-76 MPT does go down to the Cannon 57mm along the tree line. The Grenadiers aren't going to be able to stand up against all of the enemy infantry units, and at long range, in no cover against the Nueve sitting in the house with plenty of half tracks nearby, those Guardia units are going to go down. Sappers going to push through, pick up the surrender, 12-12, and it's going to be 13-11 to Colonel Koenig. The flag in the centre here has gone down as well. Guardia's trying to reinforce that centre flag, but it's looking more and more bleak for Finzent right now. 5 half track going down to the ZIS-2 gun. Rozvedka should be able to pick off the M5A1, and this flag should be able to turn to Finzent, but I honestly just expect a couple of DB73s to come in. The more DB73s that Colonel Koenig purchases, he's just going to bomb over and over again, and there's not really a lot that Finzent can do about that. He's got a total of 11 DB73s, and he can purchase 115 points. He can purchase 1 a tick. So if I was Colonel Koenig right now for the next 11 ticks, I'd just purchase DB73s. He doesn't actually need 11 ticks because he's already purchased quite a few. And just bomb everything. And over time, the value is just going to spiral. Even if he had to purchase all 11, he could purchase them one after the other for the next 11 minutes. And he would still have 7... Add maths. 8 minutes left on the clock, you know, to defend. That's all he really needs to do right now. Just kind of purchase DB73s and just throw them forwards. Finzent doesn't have any AA on the ground, and he doesn't really have any fighters available to counter, and he's obviously spending money reinforcing his front lines, which is perfectly fine. I don't think that's a mistake, but I just feel like the income advantage is just too much now. 12-12, 32 minutes into this game. I just feel like the position that Finzent's in, the income advantage that he's up against, and knowing the DB73s that Colonel Koenig has to purchase, I think it's just too far for Finzent to go to kind of pick up this victory. Guardia's being pinned down up north. We got a couple of Emcher, well, we got an Emcher Comrotti and a Valentine Mark 9 coming in, trying to save the day. It is possible that they could take out all of these units. Finzent's got to be careful that he doesn't lose these Guardias though before his re-supporting units come in. Because if he does lose them, then the Valentine and the Emcher could come through and clear up a lot of these units. The main one they've got to fight against is the M4A3, but they can still defeat that. But if they lose the infantry before they're able to come in and kind of do that, then Finzent not going to be able to have the infantry to take the positions back. Trying to resupply this centre town again. He's looking for the push back into this centre flag. It's not out of the realms of possibility. It is still possible, but it's nothing stopping a DB73 bomber just coming in and hitting all of these units as we see them come down south now to kind of hit the ZIS-2 gun and the Valentine. Yeah, down those go. I think the Valentine actually went down to the M4A3, but there's just nothing stopping those DB73 bombers. So Finzent can do all he kind of likes down on the ground. He can kill as many units as possible. He could kill all of these ground units, and he'd probably still lose because I think the bombers would just be too much for him. Here we see the DB73 coming into the centre. It's going to drop on the Guardias. Ooh, no, Finzent does just unload that one in time. Destroys one of them, pins down the others. They aren't going to surrender because of the Guardia of Comrotti here. The Finzent has done a good job of keeping his Guardia Comrottis alive, but the Sappers are going to eventually push forwards, and these units are going to fall back outside of the influence of the Guardia Comrotti, or perhaps even the Guardia Comrotti is going to go down as well. I mean, I just wouldn't be surprised to see another DB73 come in and hit them. But Finzent surrenders, 35 minutes, 22 seconds. That was a really good game. It was hard to tell until probably the last 5 to 8 minutes which way it was going to go. And I think, you know, that last 5 minutes, it was kind of clear that Colonel Koenig was going to pick up the victory. But 35 minutes, 22 seconds. Congratulations to Colonel Koenig. 4,000 kills to 2,980 losses. Actually not quite as big as I thought it was when I first saw that. But commiserations to Finzent. Puts up a really good fight there. And that's that. So, looking at the kills for Colonel Koenig, looks like the half track, I was pointing this out early on, but the half track had a really nice position on that forest. Just right on the northern side behind the city, the town area. And he was just showering that southern forest with fire, taking out an M42 gun, a ZIS-2 gun, and another ZIS-2 gun as well. So 3 ZIS-2 guns going down there to the mighty Mitre 50 cal. I call it Mitre, but I don't think that's actually how you would say it, because it's been shortened. But the 50 cal nonetheless, that was a really nice 50 cal position. And if you look at the points trade here, the 50 cal is what? Let's say 35 points. And the ZIS-2 gun is, what, 55 points? So like 135 points going down there. That is a hell of a lot of points. M10 tank destroyer trades pretty well against the Valentine, the Carrier, and the Su-76. This was along the southern side of the town. And looking at these early units, Colonel Koenig definitely trading, you know, much better than Finzent at the start of this game. And I think Finzent did suffer a bit in the early portion of the game. I don't think the trades were really going his way. Someone was saying perhaps losing some units to Micro. I don't think the trades were going his way. And Maverick versus Flatline, you kind of can't afford to trade badly in A phase as a Maverick player. It's going to put you so far behind. And then in B phase, when you've got that Maverick income advantage, you can't push back like really strong because of that income advantage. So if you kind of trade badly in A phase, it really puts you behind as a Maverick player. You're not able to use that huge income advantage to kind of be aggressive and push forwards for a 15-9, 16-8. You're then kind of trying to push back against the opposing player. M8 does pick up a few kills, and I've got to say, actually, Colonel Koenig really quite a good player with these M8s. I think he does really well with these M8 units. Anything else that we see? Cannon 57mm. This was again on the southern side of the town. Took out 2 Emchers and a Valentine. At least I think that was it. Actually, might have been up on the northern side. Not 100% sure the positioning, but still some nice kills there. DB73. This one really started to come into effect later on into the game. Started picking up kill after kill after kill. Another Cannon 57mm doing the job. Sherman's doing the job. And if you look at Colonel Koenig's units, it's mostly like the Shermans that are picking up double trades. The Sappers there doing a good job. Again, another Sherman picking up much better trades. I was kind of singing the praises of the Valentines, and they definitely didn't work out, did they? So maybe I should shut up about those Valentines units. Looking at Finzent's side, ZIS-2 gun picking up a couple of kills here, but nothing really to pay itself off. I mean, not really enough to pay itself off or really give Finzent great map control. Partizani do push on, get a couple of kills. Valentine Mark 9 finally starts to do its job. Pick up a couple of Stuarts and a Sherman. This one, at least this one did okay. M10 tank destroyer, although these are Stuarts and then an M8, so the Valentines really didn't trade that well against the Shermans and the M10 tank destroyers. We do see a couple here, but I feel like the Valentines let themselves down in this game. Maybe I was just building them up too much, but it definitely seemed that way. And finally, an M Komroti at the end, living up to its name as the command tank, taking down the M4 A376. So congratulations to Koenig, commiserations to Finzent. 35 minutes, 22 seconds. Hopefully you enjoyed the game.